What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon466 Cards, and today is our monthly check-in on the QB card market. So we're going to do two things. One, we're going to do our regular check-in on the ultra-modern QB market, which we've been doing every month since the beginning of the season. And then two, we're actually going to calculate how much money has been lost on ultra-modern QBs for base Prizm and silver Prizm PSA 10s for the entire market. And so take a guess now as to what you think that number will be, and we'll revisit that in a few minutes. So first off, these on the left here are the 16 ultra modern QBs that I predicted at the beginning of the year. 14, at least 14 of them, you would not make your money back on if you bought their flagship product. And you could see here, we definitely have hit that target. 14 of the 16 are in negative territory. Tua is in positive territory, but you would lose money on because you would lose on eBay fees. And so really there's only one guy who you would have made money on, and that's Brock Purdy. And like I said at the beginning of the season, I made this prediction that at least 14 of the 16 you would make your money back on. And I also said that there's a chance that 16 of these 16 quarterbacks, i.e. all, you would lose your money on. And only Brock is making... is the obstacle between that happening. So we'll see if that actually comes true. But the main prediction was 14 of the 16, and we're already there. The notable change this month is Tua. He was up 53% as of November. He's down to only up plus 10% as of December after that huge hot start with him and Tyreek Hill and all those guys, right? And so you can see here, it's been an absolute bloodbath. What's noticeable here is that Dak Prescott is up 27%. Russell Wilson's up 23%. These are not things that people really care about because they're not really in the zeitgeist as much, right? But they're there. They're doing quite well. And so, it's an interesting change. Having said that, Russell Wilson went from being down 63% to being down 40%. So, it's just less bad if you had bought it at the beginning of the season. But that's the state of the QB market and the ultra QB market. Now, what we're going to do is calculate how much money has been lost on ultra modern QBs. And I want to give it a shout out to Neo Cards and Comic because I am taking this idea from him. He's hinted at this a couple times, like, oh, it'd be nice if we could calculate how much money has been lost in the QB market since the beginning of the year. And while I can't do that, I can focus on the ultra modern QBs and their flagship products, which I consider to be silver Prizm PSA 10s and base Prizm PSA 10s. And so that's why you see these guys right here. I have numbers for all of them, and the ones that I did not include from this previous list I showed here is Kyler Murray, because he's ultra modern QB, he's 2019. I didn't include him before because at the beginning of the season he was injured, and thus it wasn't really fair to include him. And then the second one is Kenny Pickett. The reason why I did not include Kenny Pickett is because he has this weird print issue with his Prizm cards. And so there are actually no silver Prizm PSA 10s that exist. And the PSA 10 base is also a pretty low pop. And so that's why it's not included here. What I've included for Pickett is the base Prizm PSA 10 and also the Prizm Silver PSA 9. But everything else on this list is PSA 10s through and through. And so the way to calculate this is what was the pop at the beginning of the year. You then multiply that by the price at the beginning of the year, which would be September 1st. That gives you your market cap at the beginning of the year. You then take a look to see what the current cards are selling at as of December 1st. And that is the current day market cap. So that's what I'm calling the December market cap here. You subtract this December market cap from the beginning market cap, and that is the difference in the market, right? That's how much money has been lost on these cards. The one notable exception on this one is this Josh Allen Silver Prizm, because it's a Pop 26. There have been no sales since the beginning of the year. So I have that as a technicality of a $0 change in market cap, but his base Prizm has gone down 50%. So I would hazard a guess to say that 0 is understating what it would sell for today. But because we don't have real numbers for that, we're just going with 0 just for the sake of simplicity. And you'll see why that doesn't matter in a second. So taking a look at all these numbers, right? the big change, the only changes that are positive are Tua, which we just talked about, and Brock Purdy, which we just talked about, and then weirdly, the Kyler Murray Silver Prizm PSA 10, which is basically flat, up 3% on the year. And so, of all of these quarterbacks, obviously a big sea of red. The biggest changes or the biggest impacts are Patrick Mahomes. The Prizm PSA 10s, there was no base, so that's why it's silver in brackets there. Down $1.3 million since the beginning of the year. The other two big ones, Joe Burrow down $650K for the base Prizm, and then Deshaun Watson, which I made a video about at the beginning of the season saying his card's going to go down no matter what he does. Well, they're down nearly $500,000 as a whole for the market since the beginning of the season. And so those are the big contributors. So, and I should also mention the Josh Allen one is nearly down $400K on the market. So if you were to hazard a guess, at the beginning of the video, I'm about to tell you how much money was lost. So let's unhide this. And the answer is $4 million. $4 million have been lost on ultra modern QBs for just base Prizm PSA 10s and silver Prizm PSA 10s. That does not include any other Prizm parallels, any other Prizm parallels in a grade other than a PSA 10, any other cards, which include things like Mosaic, Select, Optic, Contenders Optic, on and on we go. Does not include any of these super high-end stuff like National Treasures, Flawless, Immaculate, One. All of those products not included at all. Just looking at silver Prizm PSA 10, base Prizm PSA 10 on just the ultra modern market, it's lost $4 million since the beginning of the season, i.e. it's been 3 months. So that's a big number. It's basically a third of the market. It's gone from 11.5 million to 7.5. So 4 divided by 12 is a third. So that's over a third, right, of the market has been lost, or the market value has been lost. So it's a big number. It's probably has more room to fall, if we're going to be honest, if I had to put my money on it, which I have not because I don't own any of these cards. I just made this prediction because I think to me it was just obvious that this was what was going to happen. And that's it. That's the video. So would love to hear your thoughts and comments. Did you make a guess? Would you have guessed $4 million? Did you guess more? Did you guess less? Once you account for all the other products that I did not calculate, what do you think this number is? I have not really thought about it much, but I think it's got to be close to $100 million. If this is just 4 million, and we're not including the big stuff like the NTs, RPAs, and Flawless, and all those type of things, all the various different types of contender autographs, I think the number, just like as a first blush estimate, I'd say it'd be close to $100 million, which is, yeah, it's a lot of money. Anyways, that's a video. Would love to hear your comments. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other thoughts on this video. Again, thanks again to Neo Cards and Comics for the idea that I just full on just stole the idea, but I didn't see him make a video about it. He just kind of threw it out in the wind a couple times and didn't do it. So I figured after about a month, I get to take the idea and run with it. So thanks to Neo for the idea. And thanks to you for watching and listening as always. I will talk to you next time. Cheers.